All right, Mike Novak, the man, the myth, the legend. If you are in the internet online world, you have probably seen Mike if you're with Ylopo, Sierra, or any of these big groups out there, probably, Wealth, he was with Tom, right? Mike's been crushing it because I remember when I started coaching him I got him in his first 6 months in coaching, or 6 months after, and I think it was in his first year. And him and his beautiful wife, Rachel, kicked ass. They created, I think, like 60 something sales in their first year. Hello, right? Because they're badasses. And then in their second year, they scaled up, and we kind of worked a lot on buying a lot of leads, a lot of online lead generation and conversion. Second year, Mike, what'd you guys get to, like 240 something?
215, yeah.
Yeah, 215, no big deal, right? So, in most agents' world, these numbers are outrageous. So today I just want to really go back, and I want to help you guys understand what does it take to be able to first buy some leads that are low cost, Google pay-per-click, and what is it realistically going to take to get you from spending money, working your butt off, to profitable, and then what the future holds from you from there. So let's jump in. So Mike, anything else I need to add to your awesome resume of success in, your third, fourth, fifth year? What are you in?
No, yeah, I appreciate all the kind words. Not a whole lot to add to it. We're in year 3.5 right now.
Okay.
Grateful for the time that we got to coach with you and kind of lay the foundation. We ended up doing, I think, 79 deals our first year, 215 our second year, about the same in year 3. And we should close out this year with about 250, 260 deals for just 5 agents on our team. We only have 5 producing agents.
Awesome.
And a support team as well.
Cool. Perfect. Good. And guys, Mike and Rachel both have been very successful and prior to getting into real estate. So for all of you guys who are like, I'm such a loser, stop, just take notes and let's get to work. So Mike, what would you say, in your first year of buying leads and scaling up in that process, what are 1 or 2 of the most important lessons you learned, strategies that you deployed that allowed you to kind of get through those early days? Anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked PPC leads from day one, just because they were cheap to generate. And while they took a while to convert, I just liked the type of lead and the kind of conversations we were having with them. So we really leaned into PPC from day one with the goal to build our database as big as possible, as quickly as possible, knowing that was kind of where the wealth would be created at in the future. And so we really leaned into that. The thing that I think we focused on the most that is really important for new agents and for experienced agents is that we spent several hours every single day at a focused block of time following up with leads, whether it was calling or texting. We always were in the office during power hours together and really following up with everyone that we've been talking to, and trying to just make sure that we're staying top of mind with them, taking care of them, setting appointments, and having real estate conversations with them. Like literally like no missed days, 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock every single day.
I remember. And
it's a grind.
Yeah, it is. And, and there's a big insight that I've learned with teams, Mike, which is, and I think, you're part of that. And I know when I was failing with my team is because I wasn't doing what you were doing, which was, hey guys, I'm calling for this hour, get your ass in here and let's call together. And then let's role play and interact afterwards. I tried to skip that as a team leader, and that's just a mistake. So, would you say that in the industry right now, you see that mistake kind of happening a lot? They're thinking, I can buy the leads, give it to them. You guys go call them, you go prospect. I'm going to go do this other thing.
There's a lot of that with team leadership right now. Unfortunately, it's pretty hands off. There's a lot of sex appeal in the industry for team leaders to get out of production. I was totally out of production for 14 or 15 months. I was totally miserable that entire time. And it kind of eroded the culture a little bit. I think when your team leader is in there doing what they're asking others to do, it sets a better example and it makes other people want to follow what you're doing as well. When they see the proof it works from you, they want to go do it too.
Yeah, I see that. I see that as a reoccurring theme and a huge mistake in the last 5 years of this game, right? So let's jump back to the PPC. So there's something that you said, there's a mindset that you had, which was low cost lead, build a big database is going to equate to wealth, meaning that it's not in the first 30, 60, 90 days that I'm probably going to make big profit and rock the house. So I think that's a big shift in the mindset. I think for a lot of would you say, and I'd love to get your answer on this, but I'm kind of like, hey guys, like if we can create a sale in the first 90 days, awesome. But really in the first 6 months, I want it to be profitable, right? But it's not going to be huge. And then our goal is that we make some money in the first year. And then in the second year, this is where it's going to get exciting, right?
Yeah.
So what's your opinion about kind of that statement right
Well,
now?
I just look at the data, like, regardless of my opinion, I see about 1% of PPC leads converted for our team in year one. And
Right.
then I see about another 1.5% converted over the next 2 to 3 years.
Mhm.
If you're retargeting those people, like you have to just be staying in front of those people. They can't just be buried in your database and not touched. But if they're properly retargeted, you should be able to get another 1.5% over the next year 2 and year 3. It can feel like a lot of follow-up, which is why you need automation and some kind of process and system to follow up with these people. You can't make, we have 60,000 people in our database. You can't make 60,000 manual follow-ups. It's not effective or efficient.
No, 100%. And so I'd like to understand the percentage game a little bit better, right? Because I was, when I talk to people about the percentage game, and I was talking to one of my coaches about this, he's like, hey, yeah, you can get 1% of the conversion within that calendar year, but a percentage of those people that you bought in this year are going to convert in the following year, plus the new percentage of the new leads that you bought. So how do I actually kind of calculate that based upon your observations, or how do you guys calculate that?
Well, so that's a good question, because you're basically saying that the pipeline is going to compound,
Right.
and you're going to have that benefit. So it's going to look like you're converting at a higher level than you probably are. Like when I looked at Sisu the other day, which is our data and analytics system,
Yeah.
and I saw that we're converting exactly 2.5% of our PPC leads. A lot of those are leads that came in a year or two ago, and some of them are leads that are just coming in today that are just converting quicker. I do think in the PPC space, there's been a lot of evolution in the last couple of years.
Yes.
Like Ylopo, for instance, has gotten into the game. They've asked really good qualifying questions to kind of separate who's ready to go now versus who is not. And we've started seeing a lot more conversions in that first 90 days that we didn't see a couple of years ago. So I do think the PPC, the game and the management of it has gotten a lot better in the last few years. But I do think it's that compound effect that you're going to be kind of seeing in your data.
Yeah. So if I bought, and you were, let's just be clear, because people don't understand. Like when you and I were working, I think you were at like 300 leads in a month, and you were maxing out the Google at that time. And you were like, how do I get more leads? And we looked at a couple other sources, and you went from 300 to like 500. And then eventually you went up to like 1,000, right? Yeah. So at that scale, the numbers work in your favor, right? But so kind of where are you at? Like, what would you say is your journey? What was your version of that journey and at scale?
Well, I was really leery, when you and I started to spend money with Zillow or Realtor.com, just because we were new and it was super expensive.
Yeah.
And I noticed that a lot of other agents were going that path, which made me want to go the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
Like if people are going to zig, I was going to zag, basically, even if it was a little bit more work. I just thought that the profitability would be a lot better. Eventually, we got into portal leads. Like we spend quite a bit of money with Realtor.com. We still don't spend any money with Zillow. But we have really carefully spent that money and invested that money to a small percentage of our total lead spend. We want to own the leads that we're generating and that data, which is why we generate most of our leads off of PPC and Ylopo still. That's just still our bread and butter. Like our number one closed lead source is Realtor.com. Number 2 is PPC.
Okay, nice. Where are you at with Realtor right now?
Like 21K a month.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah. And so, but I think just in terms of the volumes though, you were like literally at like 300, 500, and you probably went up to what, 1,000? Like what was the max number of leads you bought in 1 month, out of curiosity?
2,500.
Yeah.
G over at Ylopo, the founder over there, I had a lot of conversations on how to get the most jam into this funnel as quick as possible just to build the database.
Yeah.
And there was like about 10 or 12 months where we did 2,500 leads a month. It was, we'd come in the morning in the office and have like 70 leads to follow up with. It was really overwhelming. But we just wanted to build a huge database, and now we don't have to spend as much on new PPC just because we've got all of these people we can just retarget to.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. All right, so let's talk tech stack, because I think one of the big, if we're going to invite and help invite some top agents into the game who are don't even know what the game is, and B, we're going to help the guys that are in the game who are clueless right now. I think there's one thing that I learned over the years, which is that exactly what you said. Their automation, the CRM and your automation have to do a great job of filtering through a lot of stuff, and the automation has to be in play. You got to have good campaigns for all the if this then that, because we can't have someone calling 1,000 leads a day. We need automation, text message, emails, voicemail drops to do a lot of the hard work, and then we respond to the responses. People that are kind of raising their hand for whatever reason, we need to be on those. So kind of give me a little bit of intel about what I just said there, or make it better.
Yeah,
What are your
and
thoughts?
you're bringing up a good point. I mean, just like to caution other agents, don't go generate 2,500 leads a month until you have your systems and processes totally dialed in, because you're going to lose an absolute ton of money and opportunities with those leads. Yes. You have to have, like Patrick's saying, totally detailed automated plans to follow up with these leads, because you're not going to be able to follow up with 2,500 leads a month with manual phone calls, and then all the people that you already had in your database you had to follow up with as well. It's just going to keep stacking up and stacking up. You're going to drown. So you have to have leverage with the automation. Our tech stack, I don't move tech very often. I'm really particular about who we partner with, but when I partner with them, I go all in on them. So we use Sierra Interactive, which I know Patrick, you use as well. I really believe that they're paving the way with the CRM experience right now. They're putting in so many powerful features that other CRMs just simply don't have. Their action plans are super robust. The lead routing rules are second to none. The client experience on their website is very good. So that's our biggest thing, is Sierra Interactive. And then we have connected that with Ylopo. We've been on Ylopo. I think actually, Patrick, you were the one that got me started on Ylopo 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And we do that for retargeting mostly. And we do a little bit of PPC generation with Ylopo as well.
Right.
We Sisu for our data analytics, so we can track everything. We're obsessively compulsive about appointments set, appointments met, appointments signed, pending and closed, but we also track all of our lead source ROI reporting from Sisu as well. Way more automated than like a CTE experience if you're trying to do some volume. More mobile friendly, things like that. So, and then we supercharge Sierra Interactive with Hatch messaging, that instead of like, it would take me probably like, I don't know, 100 or 150 hours to build out text and email campaigns that Hatch has plug and play ready for you. So you can like literally just get those put in your system in Sierra, and you're off to the races with it. And they're tested, campaigns that work really well.
Yeah, those guys are good. Robbie's awesome. And, he's super thoughtful about what word he uses, what phrases, what questions, and, that text message. But I want to take a step back, because back in those early days, we were, you actually took on, I think it was Infusionsoft, and you jumped on with Greg's, automation. So for those of you guys out there, like, Mike's a beast. I tried to take on Infusionsoft, and it drove me crazy, because there's so many of this, if this, then that, move to this, to that, And so really Sierra actually has the foundation of kind of the if this, then that, with good, like a fully automated campaign, which means if they respond to the campaign, it stops, plus a traditional campaign, which is, like phone call, text message, email, a task, and it turns off when you turn it off, or it ends, right? So having those two things in play is incredible, which is really all we need. We don't need Infusionsoft. We just need good communication tools. And then just like you applied Hatch, which is all the text messaging, right? I'm using GTMS. Both those guys are amazing. And so they did all the text messages and all the emails and all the campaigns. And I can literally, lead comes in, this happens. I just then turn on this campaign and it runs. If they respond and it's the wrong phone number, I just turn on this campaign and it gets the right phone number. And between GGMS and Hatch, they kind of have all the stuff for you guys. So again, going back, if you're going to be in this game with pay-per-click leads, you need to have this tech stack to filter through a lot of leads to get the right ones into a phone call or into, an actual conversation. And without that filtering process, it's going to be a nightmare, right?
You can't separate the leads, and you can't qualify, disqualify, put people in different buckets and have different experiences to follow up with them. So it's absolutely essential so you can segment your database and the leads that are coming in, for sure.
Yeah.
We use text mostly to push to a phone call, and then that phone call is where we book the buyer consultation or listing appointment.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, it's funny. Just a quick side note. I realized this year that the text message is probably going to be the most powerful marketing tool in 2021. I think it was in 2020. No one really noticed, but the trends are there. But the way that I look at a text message, it's like A, it has the highest open rate. That's amazing. And then B, you can invite people into a conversation and they can be a yes or no really very efficiently. So it's like, would you like to discuss this? And they're like, yeah, right. And then you just call them. So there, like I think this text messaging is the game changer for 2021. If people, but all the other CRMs don't really have these fully text message automated messaging, which is why Sierra is so sweet right now, right?
Yeah, and just like one thing to add to that, like the thing that we do not do, and that I would strongly encourage other agents not to do, is do not send bulk text messages. Like, you're going to get flagged as spam. You're going to ruin your number's reputation. The carriers are getting just as good as email spam detectors are, but with cell phones, and so you have to be super careful. We do not mass text people on our team, even though you can do it in Sierra. We simply have them in action plans that are unique to the experience they were doing.
Nice. Yeah, very well said. Yeah, my thought is the mass texting for some of my database, my past clients, right? That's kind of where I'm like looking for the mass text. Hey guys, would you, here's a couple things that I'm thinking about talking to other people. Would you like to do that? Let's get together this week, whatever, right?
Yep.
A simple invitation, right? Yeah, that's really good. Okay, and so the importance of I'd like everybody hear a little bit about how YLOPA, like the combination of the YLOPA retargeting into the priority alert notifications and the value of that right now for your team. Because I've heard some really, I'm friends with Ro from Conversion Monster, and he was like, hey, we are killing it as an ISA company on the priority alert notifications from YLOPA.
Yeah, more than new leads. And the logic is simple. Priority alerts have been sitting in your database for months, and then they take a behavior that results in you following up with them. So instead of a new lead who could be 6 to 18 months out from making a move, this person's been in your database for a year or 2 years, and they've just been kind of coming back to the website, taking these different behaviors. And I think YLOPA has about 35 different priority alert types. It could be that they went quiet for 6 months, then came back to the site. It could be that they viewed a certain property a certain amount of times. It could be they put a good phone number back in when it was bad before. There's all these different type of alerts in there. And then it just puts them into a list for us in Sierra Interactive. And we review that lead. We set back up a search for them in Sierra because I really like Sierra's listing alerts, and then put them onto an automated messaging plan. Like, we have literally a priority alert messaging plan that we apply to that person that's specific to what they were doing.
Yeah, perfect. So a messaging plan, you guys, text message, email, right? What are you guys doing right now on video? One of the things that we worked on a long time ago was getting those kind of video content into the, into your workflow. How's that working out for you these days?
So I still use Infusionsoft for that, because Infusionsoft for like delivering video is pretty effective. When a buyer or seller comes in, they automatically drop into one of our buyer or seller campaigns in Infusionsoft, and there's a video drip that goes on for 2 years. And there's kind of informational videos in there, like what is earnest money? What are the top 5 buyer mistakes? Like all of these like pain point type videos. And then there's market report updates each month as well. I love market reports. Like, I get so many messages from people that they religiously watch my market report video. During COVID, I missed a month because I couldn't be in the office. And I got like 100 emails saying, hey, that's last month's video. You need to get it updated. We're waiting on this information,
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's really good to hear you say that, especially with COVID, right? And I noticed that one of my friends, and I was very haphazard about it. I just was like, hey, I probably should do this weekly, right? Tom did the This Week in Housing, which was killer. And I was like, I'm just going to do a little, weekly. And I did weekly for a couple of weeks in a row. Then I just died off just because, I'm just kind of testing and playing and having fun. One of my friends was like, dude, I miss your videos.
Right.
Now I was just like, oh, whatever, you know, but but you're at scale, and to hear that is actually really cool, right?
Right.
So
And then the other thing I do is, and I do this myself still, which is kind of crazy, but I take those market report videos and I run them on a retargeting audience
mm,
in Facebook, and I get like through plays for about 4 or 5 cents a play.
yeah,
And all I'm doing is just trying to make sure that the people that have already shown interest in our site or in homes are watching my content. You know what I mean? And building that authority so that when I do call them, they're like, oh, hey, it's Mike Novak. I hear you on the radio. I see you in my inbox. You're on my Facebook. You're on YouTube. You're like literally everywhere. And you just have like a lot more authority and credibility
mm,
when you talk to the person. Usually they've watched a bunch of your videos. Like when I go to buyer consultation, usually the person's watched my top 5 buyer mistakes in my market report video.
right, nice, love it. Yeah, and so it makes such a big difference. Let's switch over real fast because I just want to, I'm sure everybody's got a ton out of this. Question on seller leads. Okay. You guys were scaling up on seller leads and getting after it, where a lot of people were being wimpy about it, and oh, these internet seller leads, home value leads were not working. But you guys were making it work kind of when we stopped coaching. And
Yep.
I'm curious where you're at today with kind of the online seller lead.
I still think they're a good lead source. I really don't believe there's a crappy lead source out there. I think that there's just impatient conversion, appropriate conversion as well. But I like them. I mean, we've got 10,000 of them in our database that we just retarget to now. We don't have the capacity to generate new seller leads like that anymore, just because our listing team is so busy. Like I don't know what we would do with them.
Yeah.
No, but right now we don't generate new seller leads. We just retarget the ones we have, and then our top seller sources are really radio and buyers that need to sell and our past clients.
Yeah, nice. What about on that 10,000 database with some of that seller lead marketing? What's your conversion on that? What are some of the metrics that you guys are seeing?
Well, so we use the priority alert system on that as well, like basically like a seller retargeting funnel where the seller is seeing a HomeBot ad and they re-engage with that. And then when they do, we reach out to them and apply a seller, like a home valuation type messaging plan through Hatch inside of Sigma. It's about 1%. It's not super high, but we're also spending like $900 a month total on it,
Yeah, no brainer, right? Yeah, it's awesome, man. That's really cool. Cool. Question for you. When are you guys going to get into SEO? Have you even looked at it?
Oh, I've looked hard at SEO. It's one of those things that makes me really nervous because it changes all the time. Like you can rank awesome today and tomorrow you can fall off of a cliff.
Yeah.
It's something I am interested in because you own it. I just haven't made it a priority to focus. I do think it's important though. I think it's really important.
Yeah, I think so too. I think in moving into the future, guys like you have created profit off the paid lead, built a lot of system. I think that's not redeploying some of that capital into some of that long-term organic. I think it's a really important play. Right?
I did a test with Ylopo's development team on Ylopo Organic, and they like got us to rank pretty quick for some really good search terms, and the lead quality was super good. I talked to a lot of them myself, and these were like very qualified leads. So
Nice.
I think that if it's done right, the lead quality could be exceptional.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's an interesting game. So cool, man. Hey, you rock. Tell Rachel I said hi. You guys are the best. You guys are up, and make sure you guys are up in Washington State and the
Snohomish County, which is just north of Seattle.
North of Seattle. So Idiot All referrals up into Mike and Rachel. Obviously, Mike's on the phone taking care of people. Rachel is too. So you guys, if you send any referrals there, where they're going to get taken care of. And then any parting words to some of my people who are really they've kind of got the 1 foot in, 1 foot out on the internet lead game, right? Either they're paying a lot of money on Zillow, or they're like, I'm testing out some of this stuff. There's too many people on the fence here. What's your last parting words?
I think you got to be super committed to seeing it through. Like, don't start it and then stop it. Like, just decide very carefully if you're committed to it. And then if you are, go all in and ruthlessly commit to executing it and implementing it.
Yeah, 100%. And you got to, if you're not past 18 months, then you didn't even give it a try.
You didn't even try. Yep.
Yep. You rock, man. You're the best. Thank you so much.